Are you guys bothered that I'm the only one without an accent?
No, it doesn't bother me, Tim. It doesn't
Okay,
bother
good.
me. Yeah. Hello and welcome to another episode of JoomCast. This is Chetan and I have Tim here, my co-host. Today's guest hosts another podcast around Joomla in the Spanish community. Now, I want to go back and apologize for our last episode. In the very first episode, I said we looked hard enough, but we're not able to find another podcast on Joomla. I think I did not look hard enough because there's another podcast that exists around Joomla, which is obviously in Spanish. It's not in English. Probably that's the reason I did not find out. And today we have the host of the podcast with us. His name is Carlos Cámara. I think that's how he pronounces it.
Camera.
And he is the host of Joomla Mastermind with over 50 episodes. Carlos hosts his podcast on a weekly, monthly basis and has over 50 episodes, talks about Joomla, brings people from the Joomla community, web design community, and everything else. How you doing, Carlos?
Hi, Chetan. I'm doing awesome. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you very much. And don't need to apologize. I understand you couldn't find the podcast. I'm not a good SEO guy.
Yes, to be fair, it's not in English, so it didn't quite pop up in English search.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you got into doing Joomla?
Well, I got into Joomla because when I was at the university, I think it was 2000 more or less, we had a little student portal which was written in Mambo.
Wow.
And it has a forum and Simple Machines forum. And I got somehow, I don't know how, but somehow I got there to administrate it. I had no idea about Mambo. I just knew Spib, it's a French CMS for writing magazines. And then I started using it. I didn't quite see it useful. I like it Spib much better. But at some point, when I came to my first Joomla day, everything changed.
So Mambo, I mean, Joomla came into existence in like 2005 or something, right?
Yeah, 2004, I think.
Yeah, 2004, I think it was.
I never used Mambo, to be honest with you. I know I used like one or two sites back in 2008 or something, which was really, my clients asking for an upgrade to 1.5 or something like that, which was like 1.0, which I think in some way was similar to Mambo, right?
Yeah, I used Mambo before. It's how I ended up discovering, well, eventually, of course, Joomla, because I had a web hosting account in Florida. Because they would let me send out my large newsletter, and they had Fantastical, which was an auto installer and a web hosting account, and they had all these programs. So I just started clicking through them and did the quick install for WordPress, and I went in and I just could not figure out how to use it or how it works. So I thought, well, what's this Mambo? And I installed it, and it made sense, and then it changed to Joomla. So yeah, I've been around for a while with that too. Carlos, were you doing computer stuff before that? You mentioned the French CMS, but were you really involved in tech or?
Yeah. My university studies are here in Spain. They call it telecommunications engineer, and it has physics, it has electronics, and it also has lots of programming. So I knew how to program. I had a program in PHP. And I did lots of HTML and CSS before getting into the wonderful world of CMSs. By the way, I love that you say that you couldn't figure out how to use WordPress, but Mambo was so easy.
Yeah, well, no, it just clicked, and that was before I knew that the other one was a cult. That was just because it made sense. I actually did all my web pages in Dreamweaver, and I used tables, and all my pages were boxy and square, and I'd see other sites that were beautiful, and I thought, wow, how do you make sites like that? And as soon as I realized how the template system worked, I thought, oh, that's how I can do it. And so I actually bought a template and installed it, and right away I was like that was great because I just wanted to add content. I'm not a programmer, but I just wanted to be able to get content at it and get on with it and have it look nice. So yeah, so it did make sense to me.
We can all relate to that. I used to do Microsoft Front Page. I think there was a tool which used to come with Microsoft Office back in the day.
Yeah.
And I still recall it had 3 tabs at the bottom, the HTML. And I don't recall what the second tab was doing, but the third tab would really preview the pages for you. And I remember doing a lot of static HTML pages in that. I think we can all relate somewhat going back to doing static HTML pages, in that 2010, 2000 to 2005, 6 era,
Yeah. And in that way, so many of our lives have been impacted because Joomla, once we discovered it, enabled us, it opened up opportunities that we could just easily flow in that direction and pick things up. So even if it sounds like, Carlos, you weren't studying to do web pages, but you ended up being the administrator, but then all of a sudden you get drawn into this world, and now today you are where you are.
Yeah, no, definitely that is something. Joomla has changed my life, and Joomla and the Joomla events, because I mentioned before that I got into liking Joomla because of a Joomla Day. Was Joomla Day Madrid, was here in Spain, but then the next year I went to Joomla Day UK, and then I met with Gareth Edwards from G Events, and I introduced to him. I told him, hey, I'm doing the Spanish translation for your component. How nice to meet you. And we really connected. Actually, the second day, the day of the event, we were after having breakfast. We met first time the night before, right?
Uh-huh.
And after breakfast, both of us decided to go walking to the venue, and we got lost in Maidstone, and we were like wandering there. We get into the venue, and somehow we connected, and we started much tighter collaboration. I started helping him with forum and with other translations, and coordinating the translators and the stuff. And then, in the first day and beyond, Gareth offered me the opportunity to go there. So I went, and that is like the start of my career as Joomla developer.
Oh, wow.
So every Joomla event has been like key for where I am now.
So do you think without the community aspect, you would have continued on with Joomla, or maybe you would have gone a different direction?
Well, without the community, I would have gone to another place, because there will be no Joomla days or no J and Beyond, and no Joomla forums. I learned a lot in Joomla forums. So yeah, community is really, really important, especially since Joomla is a community-driven CMS, the only community-driven CMS.
No, I agree. I think the community part, meeting people physically who are doing the same kind of stuff that you're doing, who are dealing with the same kind of problems you're dealing, is very crucial to the success or the continuity of anything, Yeah,
definitely. You find people writing articles in blogs, so that when you look for something in Google and has a better SEO as I have, you find it, and then you learn something, and then you can apply in your work, and it makes your life easier. So we really need community and people speaking and talking about Joomla.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers of the live streams that I do on my YouTube channel, there's not too many that watch live, and they'll get views of recordings afterwards. But one of the things that I'm really enjoying most about that is the connections I've made. We sort of have this little sub-community happening for the people that watch the streams. And of course, that's how I got to meet Chetan. I'll go out on a limb and say that we've got a really nice friendship developing. We enjoy talking offline and working on this. So it really, I think a lot of times people don't realize the huge impact that community has on their lives. So we can look at, talk about issues and where this should go, or what direction this next version should be, or whatever. But secretly and unnoticed, we're actually benefiting in our lives, in every aspect of our lives, because we're connected to other people and enjoying that together.
Yeah, I agree. It does have some sort of personal impact on your life as well, even though you're only talking to the person about, Joomla professional or whatever. It does have some kind of personal impact on your life as well. So that's how Carlos got into doing Joomla. Carlos, how did you got into doing the podcast? How did the podcast started?
Well, the podcast started at another Joomla event. I love podcasts. I have been listening to podcasts since I discovered them in 2004 or 5, maybe. I don't remember. I were running and then I put my podcast, and it was awesome. I used them to improve my English, to get entertained, to whatever. Podcasts are awesome. I love them. But they have never had the necessity of doing a podcast. But then in Joomla de Granada in 2016, we did a round table, okay, with all the developers and the assistants, the attendees, and then I mentioned, hey, I really need someone to do a Joomla podcast, because Joomla Beat, which was like, I think, the best podcaster we
right, I've heard that,
in Joomla, has left podcasting, is not doing podcasts about Joomla now. So we really need a Joomla podcast, and if we could do it in Spanish, it would be awesome. And I said, I cannot do it because I have lots of things on my back that they cannot do it. But any of you, please do it. After that, Javier Olivares from DevOps, you may know him from different events, told me, hey, I love audio editing. So let's do it together. And I said, oh my goodness. And we did it. And we started. He left after the first year because he has lots of things. He really had lots of things on his back. And I enjoyed it a lot. And I think we are doing a great service to the Joomla community, because we were a bit dispersed in Spain. Well, not in Spain, not only in Spain, but in Colombia, in Mexico, in all the Spanish-speaking countries. So I was enjoying it. So I decided to keep going with it. And now this year I asked Andrea Gentil, she's in the certification team, to join me as co-host of the podcast. And now I have Andrea as a partner in this, and she's doing awesome, and the podcast has won lots of aspects. So I'm really happy with the podcast.
I listened to the beginning and the end, of course, because I don't speak Spanish, but I thought the opening and the ending was good quality, and the sound was great. So I'm as a tech guy, it's just like, oh yeah, that's good sound quality, that's excellent.
Do you know how many people listen to the podcast actively? Like,
in podcasting, knowing how many people is difficult, especially when you have it so open as I have it, because I have all this self-hosted. I am using a Joomla site with a podcast manager by Michael Butker, with some modifications I made to adapt to the new iTunes rules. Right. So it's I don't really can have a very nice statistic. Nevertheless, I installed Blueberry. I signed up for Blueberry, which is a podcasting statistics service, which is supposed to get the real stats. And it says it's around, it depends on the episode, but more or less, I think we have a mean of 300 people by episode. The thing with that is it keeps growing, because now someone discovers your podcast and he likes it and start downloading episodes from the past.
So 300 people, that's almost as much as us.
You're good. Well, I mean, you have to take into account that I have a really smaller audience, because not all the world, not 75% of the world speaks Spanish. So right.
I'm just joking. I think we've had 10 listens. I actually haven't even looked at the stats yet.
But your numbers are going to are growing a lot.
No, I think, Carlos, 300 is a really good number. I'll tell you why. Because first of all, everyone is not in Joomla. Okay, yeah, so exactly. You're only targeting people who want to either know about Joomla or already work in Joomla. And even from that, everyone does not want to listen to a podcast. I mean, people have different interests on how they want to spend their time. They may want to watch a Joomla tutorial, or they are already enough into Joomla that they don't want to listen more about it. So at that point, you're left with 50% of people who may be interested in podcast, and then that 50% really, depending on if they have time or not, or if they come back to each episode or not, is what I think counts as audience. So 300, I think, is a good number. If it's increasing over time, I think it's a great number.
Yeah, no, I think. Well, not the thing. I have seen it increases over time. So, it's okay. I have another podcast about PrestaShop because I noticed that after starting the podcast, I was getting lots of people interested in my services. Okay. So I said, okay, let's do a PrestaShop one and also get clients from PrestaShop. And the PrestaShop one has a bit much more listeners. I mean, a bit more, but it's not like really surprising how many more you have from a different platform. Right. And I have taken a view of WordPress podcast, which WordPress is really massive. Here in Spain is a market that is really trendy.
It's massive everywhere in the world, right?
Exactly. So, and it's not like they have much more users than I have. I mean, it's not that much. So I'm quite happy, and I just focus on enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what you should focus on, because if we start looking at number, if you're doing podcast because either you enjoy it or you feel like you want to contribute back to the Joomla community, you want to give back to the Joomla community, which is the reason Tim and I started this. We're more about giving back to the Joomla community and creating this talk, calling people out from the Joomla community and showing people that there are real people behind this platform, rather than how many people are listening to it or stuff like that. If you're in for that, I think you enjoy it, the numbers at the end of the day really don't matter. There
is one metric we are not I am not checking, and it's very difficult to check, which is engagement. Okay,
right.
You may have lots of listeners, and those listeners are high quality because they usually listen to you with earphones and other stuff. But the key point in a podcast is that they engage. Okay,
right.
It's very weird that they have an episode without comments. So in all my episodes, there are at least one comment.
Right. So you can say if you have a comment, at least there are 100 users, because only one of them may leave a comment. Other 99 may not even bother about it,
Exactly. So, and also it's difficult in a podcast to leave a comment because you for instance, I listen my podcast when I am out. I'm not in front of my computer.
When I'm running or bicycling or something like that, I would never stop to comment. I'd rather focus on the other thing, So podcast is one, and you other than podcast, for your living, you do websites and stuff in Joomla, right?
Well, to be honest, podcast I don't do it for a living because I get no money from it.
Right.
And I get all my money comes from web development. Now I'm also doing app development with Flutter for Android and iOS. But web development is everything, and I try to get to developer work jobs, like develop this component or a plugin or customizations of things or a template or things like that. I have some maintenance clients, but not that many. And it's more my living is web development. Yeah.
How long did it take you to be full time once you started down the Joomla road?
Oh, that was easy. When I left my company, I had already two Joomla clients. So, and I got enough from them to keep doing. Actually, I was in two clients like for 1 year, and I didn't need any more.
Oh, good.
So it was good. And then I started getting other clients which were a bit more profitable, because I charged them more. And then I stopped working so much for these two clients because I didn't have time. These clients were very nice because they were like, just I work per hour, okay? So they allow me to work as many hours per them,
As you want.
as many hours for them as I needed. So it was very nice in that point. So it's helping me a lot to get that. But as I was getting more clients, I couldn't work so many hours for these clients. So I had to. I lost. I didn't lose the client. I keep working with them, but.
I mean, there are only so many hours in a day you can work, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, actually, when I started, I had no kids, and now I have 2 kids. So
Right.
my time for work is, I usually say I work when I have free time.
Right. Yeah, I think, the thing with the kids is each kid deserves like 8 hours a day, and then you need 8 hours of sleep after working with them. So there goes the day, right? 24 hours, Tim?
Well, yes, but don't forget, if you take time to teach your kids how to code, that counts as time spent with your kids. So,
And you're getting child labor done. So there goes that.
I need to wait till they learn how to read. So.
oh, okay. Carlos, so you mentioned you had 2 clients that you started out with, and that allowed you to be full time. But then I don't know what the term was that you used. You got perhaps a bigger client or client that paid more. What advice do you have for people that would like to have better paying clients and get away from maybe the hecticness of having lots of smaller clients that are paying less?
Well, you need to go for what you aim, I guess. I mean, if you don't want a small client, don't think your website or your promotion tool for big clients. Otherwise, you are getting only a small clients. Also, at some point, you may be in the chance where you have to choose if you accept a client or not or whatever, but you have lots of clients. So don't be afraid to fire a client. Clients can be fired, and it's okay. If a client demands much more than you agreed, explain to him or to her. And if they do not understand, just fire them. It's okay to fire a client. You will find many more after that. One thing we usually have in mind is the fear of not getting enough clients, or how am I going to pay for this, or just fire them if you want, and you will get more. It's always there is always more. Also, one thing, at least I'm not a marketing guy, so I don't use it that much, but we should all use ads. Use Facebook ads, Twitter ads, Google AdSense, whatever of this helped you to promote your work to the right client. So use them to get the client you need. Okay?
Yeah,
so,
no, that's great advice. And what you said towards the end there too about that fear of not having enough clients or enough money or that. So the first 2 things that you said really require a steady hand or calmness to just think, okay, I've got my eye on the prize. This is what I'm going for, and I'm not going to deviate, even though I have to eat food every day.
Well, one thing that is very common in Spain is that people demand you for a discount. No, but I'm doing this big project, and then I'm going, and they also promise you're going to get tons of work after the fair.
I think it's everywhere, Carlos. It's not.
It's
just
everywhere.
Spain.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I think it's everywhere. People are really. If you are starting out, and so because what happens with programmers is they're really good at coding, but no offense, but majority of us don't have any sense of business, so they don't know.
Yep.
They don't have those negotiation skills. They don't know how to get a better rate if they're already stuck with a rate. So I think that plays a wider role, that a programmer is always a programmer. He's not a business person, or he's not a salesperson that he can sell himself better. And it's only over time that the person learns that, I should have charged this person this much, or I was doing 80 hours a week for this particular client or for this particular guy. I should have been paid more, or maybe I should have gotten a commitment or got into a contract that I have spent X amount of time on this. I should be paid a recurring income. I should have a recurring income from this client, a retainer, if I may, for next 12 months or something like that. A lot of the programmers don't get into those details and really end up doing great work, building great applications, building great websites, and then at the end, they're left with nothing. Really, as soon as the project ends, the work is done, they're back on the street, if I may, virtual street, looking for the next big client.
Yeah, definitely.
Based on your experience, Carlos, I mean, so the talk about clients was really useful. I think it will add a lot of value to your listener. Back to Joomla, you've been with Joomla before Joomla was born, right? So you have seen where 1.0 was, and then 1.5 was really popular, okay? And then, we had 2.5 where the migration from 1.5 to 2.5 was kind of not that great. I think we lost Joomla. I think, at least I personally lost a lot of clients during that transition, and I think Joomla also lost a lot of user base during that transition. Again, this is just my thinking. But then came 3. You could easily migrate from 2.5 to 3. It wasn't as painful as 1.5 to 2.5 was, but it was still something. It was still a little bit of effort. And now we are at 3.9. We have 4 almost to the end of the year. Where do you see the future of Joomla? Like, where do you see Joomla in, let's say, 5 years from now?
Well, I see it in a in the same market position we have now, because we have an awesome community who does Joomla for themselves. So as all free software, if you do it for yourself, you keep growing and you keep doing it awesome. So in that sense, I say it like that. Also, we really need to, that depends on our competitors, and WordPress is doing some, not WordPress, Automatic is doing some weird moves with WordPress, like for instance, how they released Gutenberg.
Right.
Gutenberg is not that good, to be honest.
Yeah, well, no one even in WordPress seems to like it, right?
I mean, it's awesome. It's an awesome tool. I would love to have something like that in Joomla, but it's not that good as you can replace, for instance, Visual Elementor or Divi
or WP Bakery or whatever other page builders.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but they needed to do that for a company movement. Actually, they did it in the WordCamp work. I don't know which one was a big WordCamp and that stuff. And that didn't like the community. So maybe at some point that will end in losing lots of market. Also, the quality of that market is not that. I mean, they have 30% of the web, but which 30%? They have the 30% that most of it still runs in PHP 4. So right. It's not like they have the best numbers there. So I think they will lose traction with this time. Also, their direct competitors like Wix, like Squarespace, they are growing, and they have lots of money to make things hard for them. So I think Joomla will rise because Joomla 4 is awesome. I don't know if you have taken a look.
Oh, I have. Yeah.
Web services, the new template. We are going to be 100% accessible.
Right.
Okay, in the backend.
Which is a big thing. Like, yeah, I know. Right.
It's like no one else is. I mean, we are still leaders regarding multilingual. I mean, no other CMS is multi. Well, PrestaShop is kind of good for that, but it's shopping, it's e-commerce, so it's not a generic CMS. So we are still leaders in lots of things after all these years, and we just keep adding functions.
Right.
I think Joomla will keep his position as an awesome CMS with awesome features, which will really help people to make websites without spending so much money. Because at the end, if you use WordPress, if you use PrestaShop, you need to spend lots of money in extensions, plugins, modules, whatever. So with Joomla, it's not like.
Right. Let me ask you this. So I mean, theoretically, what you're saying is, since WordPress has a bigger community, there's much more room for, them to make a mistake, and where users will just roam around, go to the competitors. Is Joomla ready for that kind of user base? Does Joomla even have, because the features that we're talking about, APIs, the end user doesn't care about APIs. Accessibility, yes, the end user would care about accessibility, but other features that may be part of Joomla, the user might not even care about it, right? I mean, people is Joomla ready? Because I know we all get excited. I'm excited about Joomla 4. We all get excited for the next big thing. We always do. There's a new car coming. We're excited. There's a new, Google had their I/O conference yesterday and today, so we're excited about whatever they're releasing on their phones, and we're always excited about the next big thing. But is Joomla ready to accept that traffic, to take on the user base that's coming? Because I mean, in competition, WordPress is commercialized. WordPress, the core, is a commercial platform, because the decisions that are made are not made by the community. I think, as far as I know, the decisions are made behind closed doors by a company, automatic. Where in Joomla, I think since it's all open source, all the decisions are made by contributors like you and me. And obviously there's a lead, who has the veto power to take or remove any decision he likes. But either way, it's more community oriented. Do you think that even if that WordPress loses their user base, Joomla is ready to take on that user base?
Definitely. Listen, you mentioned that why does an end user care about the web services, right? For instance. Right. Okay, do you know Zapier?
Sapient?
Zapier.
Zapier.
Oh, Zapier. Yeah. Zapier. Yeah. I know Zapier.
Okay, how do you connect it with a site without a JSON or a web service? You can't.
Oh, you're right. You can.
So, Joomla 4, you will be able to connect it with Zapier easily.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. I see. So I'm talking about. So I'll give another example, which I think we did in the last podcast too, Carlos. There's a bakery around the street from us, okay? Around the street from Tim, let's say, okay? And the person needs a simple website. He needs a home page with a slider and whatnot. He needs an about page where he needs to say, we've been running this bakery for 50 years or whatever. And then he needs a page where he's going to list all his products, no shopping cart, whatever. And then he has a contact form where he wants to have the emails delivered to himself, right? So for that kind of user, I think the web services are not required. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, maybe he wants to offer his clients a web service of the bread APIs, the bread prices. Sorry, no, seriously, no. But that is not a WordPress or a Joomla user. That is a Wix user.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking about getting WordPress and Wix and Squarespace traffic. We're talking about Joomla gaining some of that traffic.
But in Joomla, we don't want people who still runs PHP 4. It's not our target.
Joomla won't run on PHP 4. I mean, the newer version requires PHP 7, right? So they'll be forced to. But my point is Joomla, Joomla is adding all these features in the newer version, but is it still simple enough for the end user? Are we targeting that broader audience? Or in a hindsight, just in looking at how many features we are releasing, we're really just forgetting that there's a simple user who, the end user who doesn't know a lot. He really knows how to use PowerPoint and Word and Excel, and we should also be keeping that user in mind while developing all these additional features.
I am very stubborn on this, and some people usually tell me, but I really think Joomla is really simple. It's really easy. I have, for instance, the other day in one Telegram group we have for Spanish Joomla users, okay? One user was asking, how can I make my site to change language according to user browser? He was like scared asking that. Oh my God, they are going to ask me to write lots of code and change the template and whatever. And then I show that user a screenshot with the language filter plugin, where you just tick a switch and then your website will adjust language to user browser language. So that is really simple. That is not in WordPress. I don't think they have it in Wix yet. Well, I don't know. I have no idea of Wix. I cannot speak about
Well, I
that.
can tell you WordPress will have a plugin. I mean, there's just so many plugins WordPress has.
Yeah,
so
a plugin you have to install. In Joomla, it's already there.
And tell me if I'm summarizing you right, Carlos, because just going back a bit, your point that WordPress is more vulnerable to Wix than Squarespace. I hadn't thought of it in the perspective of, because a lot of the users of WordPress are not technical, figure out how to do it. It's, their friend has helped them set it up, or they've installed it, they've figured out how to do the basic stuff, and then if they want to go farther or they are struggling with that to work on themselves, they go to something like Wix or Squarespace. But I think what you're saying is that for someone who is discerning or looking for something very specific and solid, Joomla is there for them. And so we're not necessarily going to grab the huge numbers of just like, oh yeah, get a WordPress site, my friend has it, it's really easy. Oh, I'm on Wix. But for people that are looking for something, I was going to say concrete, but that's a different CMS, that are looking for something that is really solid, Joomla's going to have all the stuff there for them.
Exactly. You made the point exactly.
So
that's exactly what I mean.
And so your point about the screenshot in that example of changing languages, I think is probably one of the areas that I noticed that we can improve or need to focus on, is because everyday people or people that are learning struggle to find the easy answer of how to find that button. So if they've got someone, it's like, here's a screenshot, here's a video clip, we'll do it quick, here's a tutorial, and they go, oh, there you go. But to find it on yourself, that can be challenging.
Definitely. I mean, I also have an academy for, well, it's not launched yet. I have this site, Manualesjoomla.es, which is the reason for that was to publish a book I wrote with Isidro Vaquero about Joomla like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to get it into something else, and now I'm planning to release a Joomla Academy for Spanish users there. And one of the reasons for that is not to make a living, which it is too, but to give the community lots of resources so that they can keep growing with Joomla. I mean, and this will have like courses about AC mailing, about JCE, about developing a Joomla component or a Joomla module or a Joomla plugin or whatever. And we really need that kind of stuff, because one of the things that made WordPress, I think there are two keys in WordPress success. And it's not because it's easier, because at some point it's even more difficult and you have to install more things and it gets more slower and more dirty than Joomla when you want to create a good website. The thing one of the key things I think made WordPress so popular was the affiliation system all the commercial plugin developers have, and the lots of marketing people speaking about WordPress.
Right. So I agree.
The problem is Joomla is more developer, not oriented, but developers love Joomla. Right. And the problem with developers, as we have stated at the beginning of this podcast, is we are not good at marketing.
Yeah, we're not good at marketing, we're not good at selling, or we're only good at coding, right?
Exactly, we are good at coding. And that's one thing. I also want to give a really high five to, for instance, to our Joomla marketing department, because I think they are doing an awesome job. Sandra Decoux have made an awesome job when he was leading the department. Now she's still in the department, but she's not leading. And the new leader, I think she will keep doing an awesome job. So, and we really needed that. We need more marketing. And that is people like you doing podcasts, like you, Tim, who has been like 2 years doing awesome YouTube videos. Chetan, I'm not sure if you have a blog or whatever, but you have the JoomDev for releasing extensions. We really need good extensions, quality templates so that people, when they want to create a website, they can find the solution they need.
They can find good resources. No, I agree. Yeah, that's one way of contributing, even though you might end up making a little money from it as well, but you are still contributing to the community. So you talked about the social media marketing. We had one question regarding that, Carlos. Who do you think, do you want to give a shout out to someone in the Joomla community, like overall, not really the social media department only, but who, according to you, is doing a lot for Joomla, or is doing considerable amount of work in Joomla?
Yes, Carlos, we've reached the rapid fire section of the podcast.
Oh yeah, I see. I noticed that.
Name someone who contributes a lot to Joomla.
Well, really, that answering that question will be truly unfair, because there are lots of people who are doing awesome work in.
Well, the first person who comes to your mind.
Well, the first person is our president, Mrs. Rowan. Rowan is not only the president of Joomla, Rowan is a doer. She is in charge of almost everything. She was in charge before being a president. Like when someone was down, she was there helping and fixing and doing whatever she could. And when we need a migration from a component in one of the community website, she's there. When there is a conflict, she's trying to solve it. I think my shout out is for Rowan. But it's truly unfair because we have really good people like Macbeth Baker, which is still do things for Joomla. George Wilson, who has the really heavy charge of doing the Joomla 4 release. All the people who is doing the Joomla Summer of Code, which are doing awesome, and they are getting great contributors to our community. Really hard to pick one, but as I have to pick one, I will pick Rowan, as she's the president. So
okay, well we probably already covered this, but what's something you love about Joomla? What pops in your head?
Well, what I really like is it's very well structured, okay, and it's multilingual, which I love it for working in different countries. And yeah, I love that.
Okay, so your shout out was for our president, but if you were in charge, what's one thing you'd like to change in Joomla?
I think I will keep promoting marketing and will doing more marketing wise things. I mean, the software is good. I mean, we can improve and we will improve, and that's community to do. But I think I will put more efforts in marketing.
Okay. What's one of your favorite extensions?
One of my favorite extensions. Well, it's really new. It's one I'm part of the team, but I have never worked on that, to be honest. But just giving ideas on that is one Garen released, and it's called Your Sites, and it's an extension which basically put services like Watchful, My Joomla, Perfect Dashboard, I think it was called. Those kind of services who help you update your sites and have a quick view of all your sites you have.
Right.
Well, you can now have that into Joomla. And also it helps with WordPress. As I am starting now with WordPress, doing some WordPress sites, it's helping me a lot to do. So it's really new, but it's really exciting to see how it works. It goes awesome. And it's really neat. So Your Sites is probably my favorite right now.
To make a living in Joomla, can you succeed without a college degree?
Yeah, definitely. I have lots of friends who has been really successful without a college degree in Joomla. You just need to be willing to learn.
Okay.
But I think it's also applied to everything in life. To be good in a profession, you don't need a degree. You need to be willing to learn that profession. I feel passion.
Yeah, that's good. I think we've all known people with degrees who weren't very bright. So, what operating system or editor do you use for coding? What are some of the tools that of your trade?
Well, I have a couple of them. I have a Linux machine and a Mac machine. Okay.
Okay.
And I use Visual Studio Code because, well, right now I'm using more Visual Studio Code with the Joomla snippets that Aníbal Sanchez released. So you can install in your Visual Studio and have quick access to Joomla common code lines.
Okay.
It's really useful. And also I use Vim, VIM, when I am in a low resources machine. I can use Vim, and I love low resources machine, so I use it a lot. It's a Linux editor. I use it in Mac too, but historically it's been in Unix all the time, so it's Vim.
The question Tim originally suggested was, in rapid fire, we'll ask Windows or Mac, and I was like, no, we can't do that because someone might say Linux, and you're the first person, and you said Linux.
I'm the first guest, so
yeah. Hey, listen, here's one I just thought of. Didn't clear with Chetan, but I think it'll be good. Who do you challenge right here in the podcast to be our next guest?
Oh my goodness, I haven't that prepared. Okay, let me think about that quickly.
You can give him a shout out right now and challenge him to come on.
Okay, I think I'm going to challenge Geraint Edwards because he introduced me he's really part of what I am now, and he's not like going to lots of. He's a very humble guy, so you will not see him like doing lots of apparitions in public. You will not see him engaging in discussions on Twitter or whatever. He's very humble, very work-centered guy, and he's awesome. And he has an awesome story. His Joomla story, I think, it's really good.
Okay, you heard it, Geraint. Yeah. You've been challenged. You've been called out.
I will make sure that he hear it and he respond.
All right, Geraint, we'll call you and see if you can come on. Last question, Carlos. How can people reach out to you if there are clients in Spain or Spanish-speaking countries that want to use your services or for consulting or Joomla websites or whatever? How can people reach you or know more about you?
Well, I also upset English-speaking customers, okay? So don't feel like if you sorry, I don't speak Spanish, I cannot hire that guy. No, please. I also speak even I can do some German, so
no matter the language they speak, how can people reach out to you?
I think the best way is to go to the website of my company, which is Hepta.es. So
how do you spell that?
Yeah, I will spell it. It's HEPTA. Hepta. It's like 7 in Greek, I think. .es. Okay, so there you will have my work and my things. It's in Spanish. I have the English version somewhere, but they didn't publish it, so I will do it after the podcast.
So the website again is Hepta.es, HEPTA.es. It's Hepta Technologies. And, I just have the website in front of me. Google Chrome translated it in English for me automatically, so I can pretty much read all of it. But, yeah.
Awesome. I don't need multilingual now.
Yes.
Yeah, let me just tell my Twitter. If someone just want to say hello, it's Carcam. CARCAM.
Carcam. Okay, we'll put it on the show notes.
Okay, yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes, and we've got we really are only reachable by Twitter right now at JoomCast. Although Chetan, CHETAN at joomdev.com or Tim at basicjoomla.com. You can hit us up there. But Carlos, thanks for being our first guest, man.
It was great having you, Carlos.
No, it's been awesome. I enjoyed it a lot. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I'm not wishing you lots of success because I really know you are going to have lots of success. Just keep doing it, keep enjoying it, and please do it. I love Joomla and I love having this podcast here in the community now.
And Carlos, thanks for agreeing to translate all my YouTube videos into Spanish with subtitles. I appreciate that.
Thanks for agreeing to translate Asteroid into Spanish, Carlos. We really appreciate that. So that was a
What?
barter we did for getting Carlos up on the show.
Well, we can speak about everything, and I'm sure we can find someone who does it in Spanish.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well,
So-
we're not more inclined to pay, so we're looking for free services, if you know what I'm saying, right?
I think,
Definitely, this is community.
I think making someone listen to one of my live streams and translate it is cruel and unusual punishment. So.
Yeah, just the listening part is cruel. I was going to say that.
Well, Tim, as you don't have accent, YouTube transcription service should be
Yeah,
awesome for you.
it might just work automatically. There you go.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't do so well with the word Joomla yet. Carlos, thanks for coming on. Chetan, it's been great to do our second episode here. Now we need to say bye to everybody.
Yeah. Goodbye, guys. And if you're made so far, I think half of the people probably slept on the way or really just closed it. Man, I don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, if you made it to the end, thank you so much for listening. Goodbye and enjoy your Joomla sites.
Yes.
Right, Tim?
Yes, enjoy your Joomla sites. God bless.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.